Hello everybody. So I want to take a couple of minutes to review the first two projects we're going to see in the course. As you saw from the syllabus, there are 5 projects. The first one is our advocacy project, and this project you will work on off and on throughout the semester. The goal of this project is to get you involved in what is happening in education and to in the broader context, we want you to look at what is happening in education from different perspectives and to be able to become an advocate for uh, education in general, but specifically for your students. And in some cases, teachers, but really we're looking at students. So as you can see, this project is done in 2 weeks. The final version will be submitted at the end of the course. So part 1 we will work on for the first half of the course, and this will be submitted in week 8, as you can see here at the end of our part 1 statement. And it's going to be somewhere around the idea of 10 pages or so. What you're going to do in part 1 is we want you to identify a current issue or trend that is happening in education. This can be something such as tax reform, charter schools, voucher schools, the RSA Reading Sufficiency Act, Common Core state standards, so it doesn't have to just apply to Oklahoma, but education in general. Last term I taught the course, we had a few of them do some interesting topics. The 4-day week, that's been in the news. We're now at about a third of the schools in Oklahoma who are on a 4-day week because of the budget crisis. We also started seeing reports on gender issues. That's obviously a hot topic right now as well. So that's the idea, is to get you looking at something in education. So I have a hint here. If you can't come up with a topic, and this is certainly a good one for the spring semesters when we offer school law, is you may find a hot topic by reviewing bills that are going through the legislature this session. And so that's those will come out shortly, and we'll see a list of bills that are going through, and you can certainly get some ideas from there. So in part 1, what you're going to do is talk about your topic and create kind of what we call a literature review of your topic. And in this, what we're saying is you're going to give all the information you can find about your topic, but I want you to organize it around the pros and the cons of your topic. Okay, so something that would be, all those examples we just mentioned are good examples of topics. Something that would not be a good example would be, we need more money in education. That in and of itself is not a good example. So when you come back and talk about the pros and cons, it's going to be hard to come out and say the cons. Now, if you get specific on that, you might be able to lead that one into something specific. So let me think of another bad example of a topic. There's too much physical education, too much time devoted to physical education. Unless you can come up with some really good cons against that, it's going to be hard to find that as a topic. So the purpose of this is to help you narrow it down so that when you go into part 2, you'll have a good topic. Okay, so if you can't come up with some pros and or some cons for your topic, then chances are it may not be a great topic to deal with. But what I want you to do in this first part is just give a background, and you can find any sources you can use. In many of your other classes, your professor is going to say use peer-reviewed sources. and things like that. Here I'm going to let you just go crazy. You can use Google and pull up Google and see what kind of articles you can get. And the reason for this is because I want you to look at the pros and cons from the way an average person would look at them. So they're going to go and do searches on Google to find sources of information. We're not saying that our sources of information are good, but we're saying this is where they're getting their sources of information. And you'll be able to refute that later on in part 2. If you find something out there that you think is not good, you can talk about that later on. Which brings up the other thing I want you to do here is I want you to remain completely neutral in giving your pros and cons that you come up with your topic. In other words, after I read part 1, I don't necessarily want to come away saying this is how John feels about this topic because of the way he's written this out. Okay, it should portray a neutral stance on the topic. Okay, so over the next few weeks, I want you to come up with a topic. Feel free to email me or call me, and I can help you narrow your topic down to a good topic. But keep in mind, as you're pulling sources and writing your sources, I want you to be neutral and give me pros and cons that are both equal. In other words, I don't want you to give me one con against something and 15 pros of why it's a good thing. I want you to be equal in your treatment of the topic, okay? Everything needs to be in APA format, and I will provide some videos and some information that will help you with APA format. So for the first 8 weeks, I want you working on this project in the background as part of your advocacy project. Part 1 is worth 50 points, and part 2, when we get to that, will be an additional 50 points, and you'll just combine them together and submit them at the end of class. So that is the first project. The second project is project number 4, and this is your IEP project. So it should say EP, not PE. And I simply want you to be involved in an IEP meeting. Now, what I have found out is that many teachers are obviously involved as part of IEP teams, but there are some teachers who've never been involved in an IEP meeting. And as an administrator, you're going to be a part of those IEP teams. We will have a chapter on special education in week 9. And so I want to make sure that you, when we talk about it, that you have been involved in an IEP meeting. So this is not due until week 8 as well, so that gives you 2 months to work with your special ed department and try to get on an IEP team. I know there are a lot of FERPA issues and things revolved around this, so if you find that you're having difficulties, please contact me and let me know. But this will give you 8 weeks to get on an IEP team, and there are instructions that will talk about what you are to do and how to write up this IEP meeting. So that's an introduction to the first 2 projects that we will do in the course.